Action Research Multimedia presentation by Ashley Sharma. Statement of core values and worldview. There are several core values and worldviews that surround my teaching practice. I believe it is important that students have a positive attitude towards their learning, as well as the teacher providing effective classroom management. It is vital for students to work on their problem-solving skills from the primary grades, as it is an essential skill allowing them to work well with their peers. As a teacher, it is important to have potent classroom management, as this will lead to student success within the classroom. Having a structured system that students can follow will allow the two values that I view as most important, problem-solving skills and having a positive attitude, to fall into place and allow students to progress in their learning. Statement of the research problem. Effective classroom management can be described as organizing a classroom where students are learning to their highest potential without disruptive behavior. During my placement, the grade 5 students were constantly talking over the teacher, not listening to teaching instructions, not reacting to attention grabbers. Students were refusing to do their work, and the teacher had to stop the lesson many times to address disruptive behavior. Finding a model or teaching approach with effective classroom management will be key in solving these issues within the classroom. Classroom management is essential to create a conducive environment to learning. This allows students to understand the teacher's instructions and allows more time for meaningful instruction rather than wasting time on disruptive behavior. Research questions. The research question that will be addressed in this action research is, how can I promote effective behavior management within the classroom? Specifically, which classroom management model promotes positive student behaviors in a grade 5 class? Some definitions of central and relevant terms. The first is classroom management. This refers to the wide variety of skills and techniques that teachers use to keep students organized, orderly, focused, attentive, on task, and academically productive during a class. The second is the reactional model, which focuses on rewarding or punitive actions in regards to classroom management. And the last is the preventive model, which focuses on foreseeing and preventing disruptive student behavior. These two models were constantly brought up in many of the literature summaries in the articles that I will be discussing in the next few slides. The first literature summary is on the article, Primary School Teachers' Views on Constructive Classroom Management. This article discusses the constructivism theory in regards to classroom management. Constructivism focuses on individuals and relies on the idea that learners are actively involved in the learning process and responsible for their own learning. There needs to be a setting for maintaining order within the classroom. This article focuses on a theory that is different from the traditional classroom that we're so often used to. How will this theory be better, and can it be implemented in the classroom for effective classroom management? The different models mentioned in this article are the reactional model, so rewarding or punitive actions, preventive model, foreseeing and preventing disruptive behaviors, the developmental model, characteristics of students, and the holistic model, which is using any other model. There is evidence of a strong correlation between the use of reactive classroom management and showing a negative reaction to the unwanted behavior. The second literature summary is on the article, Teaching the Social Curriculum, Classroom Management as Behavioral Instruction. This article discusses various strategies that can emphasize the classroom climate to help students' learning and diminish disruption. The strategies shift away from reactive and punitive approaches towards an emphasis on instruction and preventive approaches. This article emphasizes the significance of teaching the social curriculum to students, as it will guide their behavior. Explaining the classroom expectations verbally to students, arranging the classroom in a way to minimize distraction, providing effective curriculum to make sure that students are engaged are several of the key strategies that will provide efficient classroom behavior and have students continue with a positive attitude towards their learning. The third literature summary is on the article, Student Teachers' Perceptions of Classroom Management Models Used by Expert Teachers. This article examines student teachers' perceptions of various classroom management models used by their associate teachers during their teaching practicum. There were 5 central aspects mentioned in the article in relation to classroom management. These were creating a physical environment conducive to effective teaching and learning, effective management of instructional time, planning and facilitating classroom learning, aligning interpersonal relations with instructional goals and objectives, and managing student behaviors. This article mentions that the most used model was the preventive model. So teachers are taking students' characteristics and needs when designing classroom rules and implementing instructions, roles, and responsibilities. This also touches on the developmental model by taking into considerations the students' characteristics and needs. The fourth literature summary is on the article Evidence-Based Classroom Behavior Management Strategies. This article focuses on various tactics that teachers used in the classroom to diminish disruptive behavior and challenging behavior. The model used in this article is the reactional model, so students were receiving positive consequences for positive behavior. A lot of these strategies were taken from applied behavior analysis, which focuses on the principles of operant conditioning. So ensuring that rules are simple and verbally explained, frequently using praises to let students know how they're doing, establishing routines and providing multiple entry points for assignments help stabilize disruptions in the classroom. This showed low levels of disruptive behavior and focus from students. There was also the use of the good behavior game, also known as GBG, that was mentioned in the article that worked very well. So students are divided into two teams, and the team that follows the rules and expectations that are outlined for the classroom are rewarded points, and this resulted in low levels of classroom disruption. This might have also been because students enjoy being competitive and they enjoy when there is rewards, so this allowed this game to be effective within certain classrooms that use them. The last literature summary is on the article Preventing Disruptive Behavior via Classroom Management, Validating the Color Wheel System in Kindergarten Classrooms. In this article, the use of a color wheel in kindergarten and fourth grade classrooms has been an effective strategy in maintaining classroom management. It includes using a color wheel to show a rule set is in effect for an activity. There are differentiated rules based on an activity. The teacher tells the students when the color wheel will change to another color. This will help students smooth into their transitions. There is frequent praising from teachers to students for following the color wheel. This resulted in improvements in behaviors, smoother transitions that save time, works well for classroom activities, and less repetition of directions and instructions from the teacher. This article follows a preventive model to avert disruptive behavior by setting a clear and structured system for students to follow. These articles highlighted significant strategies that can be implemented and tried in classrooms. However, a gap amongst these articles in my literature review were that they did not include grade 5 classrooms, and some studies were conducted outside of Canada. My study can contribute to these bodies of literature by completing this research and using the different models and implementing them within a grade 5 classroom. My research plan. Data sources. Some of the data sources that will be used in this action research. The first one is teacher observation. So this will look at which areas in the classroom throughout the day need positive behavior management to be implemented and to see how new behavior management techniques are working within the classroom. The second is surveys and questionnaires. So this will let the teacher know how students feel about behavior in the classroom and if it affects their learning, and how students feel about the new behavior management techniques being implemented within the classroom. The last data source is a behavior checklist, and this will look at what behaviors are to be expected within the classroom and if they are being sought out by students. If not, where can improvements be made? Triangulation, validity, and reliability. So the triangulation of data looked at teacher observation and anecdotal notes of students and classroom behavior to see where positive behavior management techniques can be implemented and note the effects of these techniques. The surveys and questionnaires to note and compare how students feel about the behavior in the classroom and the effects on their learning and how the new techniques have helped the classroom environment. And lastly, the behavior checklist to see if students are following the expected behaviors within the classroom. To ensure validity and reliability, it's important that the participants are honest. It's important to have different data sources for comparison, comparing the survey and the checklist to the teacher's observations. The surveys and questionnaires will be completed by students independently to ensure that results are not biased or skewed, and the behavior checklist will take into consideration the environment of the classroom. Participants and the setting of the action research. so participants will include students, the teacher, and colleagues if necessary. The data will be collected at school during class time, and if the class is on Rotary or has other teachers that teach specific subjects, those teachers are open to using the new behavior management strategies or techniques, taking notes, and providing the feedback to the teacher. My research plan, data collection procedures. The timeline chart. So the first type of data is teacher observation. So this will be done throughout the school year before the plan is implemented and during. And the teacher observation anecdotal notes can be done every day if necessary, but it will be done several times a week. The surveys and questionnaires will also be throughout the school year before the plan is implemented to see how students feel about the behavior in the classroom and during the school year as well. They will be completed approximately twice a month, as this will allow time for strategies to be put into place and to see its progress within the classroom. Lastly, the behavior checklist will also be collected throughout the school year before the plan is implemented and during. This can be completed by the teacher once or twice a week, depending on how the behavior is that week. Ethical considerations. It is important to maintain confidentiality by not using students' real names. If the teacher is observing as a whole class, they can just take notes on the general behaviors of students, or they can use pseudonyms. It is also important to not have your personal biases not get in the way of the research that is being conducted. Closure. In conclusion, this action research study will support me in my knowledge of teaching and my future teaching practice. I can learn about effective behavior management techniques based on the class environment. I can take these behavior management techniques and apply them to future classrooms, and I can learn about students' needs and wants in terms of maintaining a healthy and safe environment for their learning. This action research will also allow me to learn of different models that can be used based on the classroom environment that I will be in. This will also allow me to attain the goal of maintaining a classroom where meaningful instruction time is taking place and students are engaged in their learning with a positive attitude rather than having time being wasted on disruptive behavior. That concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening.